Do you think it was just a single sock? Or, like, that she actually owns a few pairs of socks and just never wears them? Questions for the discerning viewer. We got 53, yeah, that's pretty normal. Marona, here's the thing, Steven. Sometimes I just like being alone, but there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Eventually the quiet gets to me. I need some company. That was a hint, by the way, in case you didn't notice. No, I noticed. If you're home, I'll visit. I mean, you need to be home. I have so many flowers to deal with, and I think I'm just gonna sell them again, because there's just too many. There's too many flowers. Also, I don't know what I was thinking that I might be able to get turnips. I was asleep by like 3 a.m. Actually, it was more like 5 a.m. I was asleep by, because I laid in bed for a few hours. But, you know, I went to bed at 3 and just didn't fall asleep. Because that's how my brain worked last night. Was, just really annoying, if I'm honest. Because I really wanted to sleep. Would have been really nice. And I ended up getting woken up by my mother's dog barking his head off non-stop. And usually when I shout at him to basically to shut, he quiets. And it's great. This time he didn't. He just kept barking, and it's like, my man, please, I'm trying to sleep here. And he's like, don't care more. And it's like, stop. And he's like, no. So that was my morning. It's turning into you, Snorty. It's the latest. No fresh air, no frills to cheer me up. No. But, I had to rush over there to water some flowers. I feel that. Trying to think of things I can ramble about. I know I said I was gonna ramble more about Heroes Might Magic 6, but I don't remember what I was gonna ramble about when it pertains to that game. Or pertaining to that game. So, yeah. My memory is fully functional. I've had a friend be like, hey, you should, like, journal or stuff to, like, try to remember things. And, like, yeah, I probably should. But at the same time, I would need so many journals. And there's also just so much where, like, if I didn't do it... I want to keep the purple rose. If I didn't do it daily, I would probably just forget to do it. But the problem then becomes, I don't do enough in the run of a day to journal every day. So, like, it wouldn't really work. Because, like, there's definitely not enough that I do in the run of a day that's worth writing down. Like, yesterday I could, say, write down about not getting the job interview. That's about it. Even then, like, I have videos for that. You know? In a way, these videos are kind of like a bit of a daily journal kind of thing. They're basically a vlog, just with an Animal Crossing skin. And I enjoy that. I enjoy having this place I can just ramble. Just be like, I'm just gonna talk about stuff. You can't stop me. Yep, there's my shovel. Thank you for your service, shovel. I mean, you could have held up a little better, but, you know. So I got my boost. Boost. I ended up burning my tongue last night on some coffee, and now I can't really taste much of anything, so that's a bit sad. Coffee machines make coffee just way too hot. Admittedly, it was a bit of my own fault for needing to use the perk a cup of coffee feature of our coffee machine. Because where I had extra coffee yesterday over what I normally would drink, there wasn't enough left in the pot itself to fill my cup when I went for my walk. And I was like, alright, we got some instant coffee. I'll just make a cup of that and have that as what I take with me. And then I put it in my Monster Hunter travel mug, which keeps stuff... It doesn't keep it, like, super hot forever, but, like, definitely keeps it hot longer than, like, putting it in just a regular mug. So, yeah, it was still scalding hot, like, halfway through my walk. And I'm still just sipping away at it because I'm an idiot, but, you know. Because I still went for my nightly walk yesterday. I have walked almost 30 kilometers since the last week transition for Pokemon Go. Which, the week transitions on the 20th, so... It's the 18th for me right now. I got, like, 2 more walks to do before it transitions again. I might possibly make it to 50. Like... It's such a long distance. I'd probably, quote-unquote, walk further, like, have more progress on that, if, like, I carried my phone with me more often. I've been leaving it on my desk a lot. So, like, I'm not getting all the walking around the house that I do every day. I walk probably close to 1 kilometer just in the house every day. Which, you know, that's a good distance to be walking. And, like, I'm always schmoovin'. Not very often groovin', but I am almost always schmoovin'. Let's just hold the arrow too. It's fine. Really weird not being able to taste things over, like, the center of my tongue. But the sides of it can taste things just fine. Really weird. I didn't mean to dig up that flower. That's just me being dumb. I am very much struggling to think of things to ramble about. I suppose I did play the like, Cthulhu-esque faction in the Heroes demo. At least a little bit. But that's something I can ramble about. They adjusted the difficulty. They won, you know, reduced, basically, the AI to where it probably should be. Like, they reduced the AI to probably where it should have been the whole time. And, on top of that, like, tweaked almost every level of the difficulty in the demo. Which I kind of hope ends up being, like, permanent? Because I would not want them to put the difficulty back up for the main game. I mean, when you've got people theorizing that they made the demo so difficult so that people would not be able to win in the demo and would have to buy the whole game just to win a match. You know the game is hard when there's people, like, tinfoil hatting like that about the difficulty. You know. It's a pretty good sign that the game's pretty hard. Pretty hard. I will say, that faction is weird. Because, like, you can get into your high-tier units so much faster with them. And that's just weird to me. Like, high-tier units should always be a hassle to get into. But with this faction, it's just kind of not. It's kind of trivial. And the reason for that almost seems to just be that, like, they don't really have a low-tiered ranged unit, so they're rushed into their final tiers of units, which are their ranged units. Which in of itself is a problem. Not because they don't have ranged units early, but high-tier ranged units tend to be some of the most busted units in Heroes. And this is a faction that has 2 of them. Most factions only have 1. So, you know. Just plant it over here. But yeah, these guys have 2. It's literally just a case of, gee, Billy, how come your mom lets you have 2 high-tier ranged units? And it's because they're definitely still just trying to push that faction super hard. You come by, let's talk. I'm the worst at doing housework. No, that's me. I got this sudden urge to cook a while back. My food came out way too sweet. Oh, the recipe? Except for the part where I grabbed the sugar instead of salt. Oops. Yeah, it tasted bad. Only thing is, though, you don't mess up cooking, go big. That's how new foods get made. I mean, yeah. Though it really depends on how you define a mistake in cooking. Because, you know, there are some who would argue that yawning is not food. They would argue that, and they're correct. There are some that would argue that mixing, say, savory and sweet is a failure. It's a mistake. Except that's a pretty common, like, food combination is savory and sweet. So, you know, on paper, yeah, it shouldn't work, but in practice, it does. And that's all that really matters, so, you know. Okay, I still need to try Necropolis. That's really about it. Huh? Oh, you talking to me? Sorry, I was way in the DIY zone. What'd you up to? Well, making a spooky lantern. Some in-love magloves. All of them. Hang on, not important. Doesn't matter if took their mic relationship off the maglev rails. Because she's building the thing. Yes, I would love to know. Yeah. Recipe. I have plenty growing, so I probably have enough. I love how she has Bubblegum KK as her song. It's so freaking cute. I love that song. But, yeah, like, Another thing that does kind of annoy me is this faction, their unique building. One is just buildable. And two, well, hi Simon. Salutations, like running into you, one chat. Thinking about what to do, and I almost had an idea. Almost. Fair, my man. Watch out. Watch out there. Ideas can be dangerous. They can also be completely harmless. They can be dangerous, so be careful about them. Careful with them. Their unique structure lets them once per week hire an extra set of units from any of their like outbuildings, and it doesn't take away from what you're already getting from the building. So like if you get, for instance, like if you capture a place that say lets you hire your ultimate unit, I don't know the names of the units, but like your tier 7, your highest tier unit, you can go to that building, hire one. Go to your city, hire another one. And owning that building also gives you an extra +1 to the growth of your ultimate unit. So you're basically, for having that one building, getting 2 extra, where every other faction is only getting 1 extra. That's kind of not cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to mage dress. Yeah. Because, like, that does mean that you will, basically, if you can get a building for one of your big units, you can really start pumping them out. Make your usual round, Steven? Or is this a special visit? Not that you have any reason to visit your favorite hedgehog shopkeepers. No, I don't. But, like, especially where all of your cities of this faction can do that. And they can all hire from the same building, I'm pretty sure. So at that point, if you've got 3 cities, you're not getting 3 extra ultimate units for 1 outbuilding. You know, it's really not cool. And I could see that making this faction really snowball out of control. Which would be a problem. Nice running into you, Tallnet. Let's chat. Look like someone who's got big plans. I'm more of the little plans type. I really don't. I am the don't plan type. Like, that's just how I roll. Like, no, Diva and Pinky are just running around playing. Look at 'em go! Yay! Haven't told the blast boop. Let's talk. So I want to tell you, 1, you're fat. 2, I mean that. 3, there is no 3. You got Diva. Evening Queen. It's the latest. This weather rocks. So I kind of just want to lay out and enjoy the weather, Queen. That is very fair. I can dig up 4 more flowers before I gotta sell them. Have I found all the fossils yet? I have not. Where could this final fossil be? Oh, right there. Like, I know Necropolis can get, faction units out of sacrificing non-faction units. Which, at that point, basically just means that, I mean, I've kind of already deduced this with other, like, factions and just other attempts at the game. That, diplomacy is basically the skill you want on everybody, because neutral units being added to your army is great. But, like, the thing with other factions is that you never want to hire outside of your own faction. Necropolis wants to, because they can then turn those units into their own faction's units. And you never want to mix and match. Like, it lowers the morale of all of your units to mix and match units within your army. Which is something that in Heroes of Might and Magic 5, if you're playing as the orcs, you can more or less use that to your advantage by purposefully baiting the NPCs into attacking and capturing, basically, some of your goblins. Because your goblins have a chance of betraying you every time they get hit. And they're also the easiest to kill units, so you get a big stack of goblins, you put them in the path of the enemy, and there's a pretty good chance that they're going to end up getting your goblins. Now, you don't overly mind your goblins being taken, because the goblins are kind of bad. They're your generic tier 1 unit. They are... So, like, you don't care if the NPCs get them. Caroline! Hey there, Rambler. Shopping too, Tall Nut? But selling things. Let's talk. Stopped in today because I had a feeling there might be a bargain waiting for me. I just need to find it. It's very fair. Take all this stuff. Also, yes, I am still very tired. I'm really hoping I hit a second win today and, like, get a bunch of energy. It's not happened yet, but I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. Well, I'm always hopeful. There's nothing really new there, but... So yeah, like, when it comes to, like, Necropolis and their ability to basically turn any unit into their own, like, that's nothing new. And more or less, I would say that's a pretty fine thing. It can definitely cause some problems, sure. But, like, for the most part, it's fine. Necropolis doesn't tend to snowball that much. Now, there are some of the older games where, yeah, Necropolis snowballs out of control so freaking fast. But a lot of the games, they stay pretty much on par. Heck, one of the big things that Necropolis has going against them and kind of basically has since 5. Wrong thing. I don't want to talk yet. The thing they've had kind of going against them since 5, so technically this would be Tribes of the East of 5, is their skeletons can either be a decent melee unit or a ranged unit. Like, they have to pick. They don't get a high initiative, decent speed melee unit if they don't keep their archer, you know, if they don't keep their skeletons as a melee unit. And then, you know, if they do take the ranged unit, then, well, if they don't take the ranged unit, then they literally only have a single ranged unit. And ranged units are kind of king. You definitely want the skeletal archers, but that does put you at a bit of a disadvantage compared to other factions. Especially where the skeletal archers are very easy to kill. They're built upon your rank 1 skeleton. They're pretty easy to kill, which is nice. this way. Also, I have 8-bit drummer stream open if I keep looking this way. I do wish I wasn't so freaking tired. Jesus. Oh, that's a good stretch. I legitimately feel as tired today as I did yesterday. Because I did not sleep well. So, you know. There's the cricket. But yeah, like I am curious to see where the factions end up, and like what factions ultimately end up in Olden Age, because like we don't even know all of the factions that'll be there. I don't think. I know they've made mention that elves are gonna be there, but it's not gonna be elves as we know them, because Olden Era is basically timeline-wise before everything we've seen so far, which does kind of indicate that at some point these Cthulhu-esque fishy people die off and then come back. And that, you know, that might be why Dungeon is not Dungeon. You know, they're not the faction they kind of have been forever. Is because they quite simply they're not at their point of development of having their distinctly different from normal human faction. Which is fine. I mean, I wish they were their normal selves, because I enjoy Dungeon. You know. Whoop. That's a Nookling. Like, in Heroes 5, they actually kind of did the opposite with Dungeon as to what they did with Necropolis. Hey, Steven, come here for some coffee. It was just what I needed. That's fair. Like, where Necropolis can turn their melee unit into a ranged unit, Dungeon can turn their ranged unit into a melee unit. And turning them into a melee unit can actually be beneficial, even though you are losing a ranged unit. Because this is a melee unit that gains the ability of stealth, so it can basically sneakily move across the battlefield and then punch enemy ranged units in the face, effectively taking them out of the fight. Which is nice. Now, you're still probably going to always leave this unit as a ranged unit, because ranged units are just kind of the best. Like, if you're going to get through a battle without losing units, you're doing it with your ranged units and your hero's magic. You're not doing it with melee units. You're almost certainly going to lose melee units if you have to use them in a battle. So, you know. But let's come get stuff sold, and then I think that's going to be it for today, because I am so freaking tired. Ugh. Which also kind of sucks, because streaming. I don't think I'm going to be streaming today. I really want to, though, but I'm just so tired. I'm going to have to, like, manage to wake up in the next few hours. It's the problem. There is no easy solution for this problem. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I do thank you all very much for watching. Also, before anyone asks, no, I have not heard back yet about the interview. I don't know when or if I'll even hear back. I was told I would hear back, but I've been told many things before that were not actually true. So, yeah. That is going to be it for today. Thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully I shall see you back here tomorrow for more Animal Crossing New Horizons. See you all then.